Okay, welcome to week 8, everybody. I hope everybody had a good reading break. This week we are looking at display advertising. We're also starting the simulation, so I will be putting out a simulation video just after this one. But we've got a few different things to go over, including display ads. So let's jump right into it. So just having a look at our schedule here, guys. Obviously, we're just back from the reading break. The simulation is actually open. Hopefully, everybody had a chance to watch the simulation intro video. I'll be doing another video on that just from my perspective to give my overview of it. So you'll have a look out for that. Make sure that you are getting the quizzes done. Obviously, chapter 7 this week. And keeping up with those there as well, guys. We've got email marketing next week, social media coming up as well, leading into our final exam. Okay, so topic objectives for this week, just looking at a couple of different things. What type of business objectives we can meet with online advertising, the different ad formats, payment models, and ad types, creating a display ad, what it actually should look like, how and where to publish ads, and how to run an online campaign. So just looking at what a display ad actually is, guys, if you think of any time you've been onto a website, they can pop up on apps. Anytime you're on anything, any online source like that, and you see a little ad pop up, maybe on the side of the screen, banner ad running across the middle of the screen, those are display ads. Usually they don't have a lot of information in them, so it's kind of like a visual ad that's trying to capture your attention. And when people are tracking them, they're actually tracking as you scroll past them. That's counting an impression there. But also, if you sort of take some time and hover on the ad, it's tracking that. If you click on the ad, it's tracking that. So there's a lot of different analytics we can get from display ads, as well as being one of those marketing channels where it can reinforce your branding, reinforce the exposure to that company. So, you might be like, oh, I see those all the time and I don't pay attention to them. While the people that are actually looking for products might actually pay attention to those, and that might actually cause them to convert. So they're not super effective, but they can be effective in certain situations. So where do we usually find these ads? We usually find them on advertising networks like Google ADX. This is where we can publish these ads by. This is basically a network that connects publishers and advertisers together, so we can figure out which websites we can put our display ads on. We could go directly to a website and say, I want to put a display ad on your website, especially if they're a high profile publisher. We could go to social media platforms. They've got display ads that pop up in different areas. Or we can go to an advertising exchange where there is a set platform and software that will look at the ecosystem, look at all of the different areas where ads could be displayed, and it instantly figures out an algorithm and a formula to display the ads that people want to display. So we'll have a look at how that actually works, the actual exchange, the SSP, the supply side, and the DSP, the demand side. We'll watch a quick video to actually see how that works, because it's a pretty incredible piece of technology that's running all the time that we don't really pay too much attention to. Just looking at a couple of examples here, guys, of display ads. Here we have more of a horizontal banner for Lexus. So we've got a striking image here. We've got our branding. We've just got a one-line tag here, and then we've got a link to find more information. Here's one from Apple, talking about Apple TV, Rewind and Rewatch, where they're using some of the lettering in the wording here is done using some of those items that you might use, like a remote or the Apple logo there. So that's kind of fun with some color as well. We've got a bit more of a busy one here for Battlegrounds, obviously the game. So there's a bit more information in this. There's a bit more going on. So whether or not this is an effective display ad is up for argument. Some of these things people might miss because there's a lot of text in this. We usually want to keep our text to a minimum. And we also want to make sure we've got a clear button to push on here. So this button here, very clear. This button here, very clear. Here, there's not really a clear button. So what do you do in the situation? Another one here. This one's nice and clear. We don't have a ton of text. We've got simple animations. We've got some dynamic colors that blend with each other here. And we've got a clear button as well with our branding. And again, this one's kind of missing a button, but we've got very clear language here, and we've got a clear message in these ones. So lots of different examples, guys. You might see these pop up all the time on your websites. Let's just have a look at that ecosystem that I mentioned, the programmatic ad ecosystem. So when you actually want to get one of these display ads onto a website, how do you go about it? Now, this ecosystem is one of the most common ones. So let's watch this and see what we think.
The ad ecosystem is big, confusing, and complex. It can be difficult to make sense of it all. In this video, we'll break it down for you and help you understand Bliss's role in the ecosystem. 10 years ago, media agencies would manually buy digital media by reserving large blocks of pre-sold impressions across publishers' websites. Not only was this painful to scale, but it lacked sophisticated targeting. All visitors to any one website received the same ad exposure no matter their age, gender, or individual interests. Meaning a 53-year-old gardening fanatic would see the same ads as an 18-year-old football-mad teenager.
So, guys, obviously the problem we talked about, you can go to a website and say, can I put a display ad on there again? But the problem with that is that it's not targeted. So what they've come up with now, the new display ad system, is far more targeted, and we'll see how that works.
Very efficient or intelligent. This is where RTB, or real-time bidding, came in, bringing an auction-style opportunity for marketers to serve ads to consumers in a much more personal and data-led way. This also gave rise to location-powered advertising. That's where Bliss comes in. This new ecosystem was built up quickly and with a lot of moving parts and a lot of acronyms to keep people on their toes, so I'll explain these as we go. As consumers, that's all of you. You typically read and experience content from publishers via apps or websites on your phone. When you're viewing content, there are advertising opportunities waiting to be filled, and all of this happens in the blink of an eye. To fill these virtual ad spaces, publishers integrate with supply-side platforms or SSPs that manage the selling of a publisher's inventory. The supply in supply-side is made up of the available ad units on the publisher's site. But if you have ad space to fill, you need to have advertisers to fill them. That's where the demand-side platforms, or DSPs, come in. The DSPs connect to the SSPs to bring advertiser demand for ad space to the publishers with spaces to fill. DSPs build intelligent audience buying strategies like demographic, behavioural, or location profiling, and buy media against these audiences for advertisers and media agencies through an auction.
So again, guys, we're going back to our target market, our user profile that we did earlier in the semester. These demand-side programs are building up these profiles of people based on the data and the tracking cookies that they're getting from different devices, like location, gender, time of use, device use. All of these different types of data could be where you're at, and we'll see an example in a second here of someone being in a specific location, and they can target people based on that location. So all of this information that we're tracking, they're creating these user profiles, these target markets that they can then make this process. If somebody has an ad that they want to show, they match it up to it much quicker than they would be able to in the past.
Let's bring this to life with a real-world example using location data as a buying opportunity. Let's imagine that you, as one of several consumers, are sitting in a football stadium looking up the best route home on a transport app. You've already opted in to sharing your GPS data with the app when you downloaded it, and in doing so, your location is also used for advertising purposes. As you scroll the app, there's an ad space waiting to be filled. In the milliseconds it takes for an ad to be served, a lot is going on behind the scenes. In this case, the transport app alerts their partner SSPs that they have an ad space ready to be sold and filled by the right advertiser. The SSP then holds an auction and sends out a bid request containing all the data they can share about the ad space. This includes the ad spec, device type, demographic data, publisher, as well as the football GPS coordinates. The connected DSPs will check if they have any ad campaigns with targeting criteria matching the ad opportunity, like an energy drink retailer looking to target sports fans.
So just think about that for a second, guys. This person's at a sporting event. They're on their phone. They're looking for information on the phone. Imagine if you are a company that's within close reach of that stadium and you're putting out display ads for, maybe a restaurant or something like that. And you see that information and you can see that the thing is close to you. That's going to convince you or nudge you in the direction of going to that location. So
one could be a good match. You're in a football stadium, so the DSP places a bid for the price that they're willing to pay for the ad. Several DSPs will be competing to win the auction, and whoever bids at the highest price wins. The winning DSP is notified, and the energy drink ad displays on the transport app you've got open in your hand. All of this happens in less than 200 milliseconds, several billion times a day across the world. It's not just real-time proximity-based targeting where location data is useful. The power of location data is also great for retargeting audiences based on where people have been. And there we have it, real-time bidding and location-powered advertising demystified.
So guys, we can see there all of that bidding in terms of figuring out who the person is that's looking on a website, and then all of the companies that might match to that person and all of the data that the advertising exchanges collected is done in less than 200 milliseconds, and it's being done billions, not millions, billions of times a day. Which is kind of crazy when you think about it, the amount of processing power and the information that's being transferred constantly every day in terms of putting these display ads. And then, it's kind of ironic that a lot of people don't even pay any attention to them. But there's a lot of technology in the background happening, guys, that we don't even realize. Okay, let's move on. So you've probably seen all of these different types of banners, of display ads that might be going on different websites. The question here is which size is the most effective for capturing attention? A bit of a trick question because there's not really a most effective size. They're all basically dependent on what type of website you're on, what type of space is available. A bunch of different information will determine which type of these are going to be more effective, and the size of the ad is less important than what you actually put in it. So let's have a look at some of the ways that we can actually set up a display ad. Just actually before we do that, we'll look at the advantages and disadvantages of these display ads. So number one, it's got an emotive appeal. So you want to create an ad that has some kind of striking image that captures people's attention and kind of plays on their emotions a little bit, right? So that's you don't have a lot of space. They're only going to be small, so you're not going to be able to put in lots of text. So you want an image that's going to capture people's emotions. Some interactivity. So if you can click on an ad and it's going to take you to a game, or it's going to be dynamic and like a video ad, even something that moves, something that captures people's attention, is going to improve chance of brand recognition. Obviously, animations, games, and videos can work well. The other good thing I already mentioned, guys, is that it's easy to track and measure. You can see who's seen it. You can figure out how long they've seen it for. You can see how many times they've scrolled up and down past it. You can see who's clicked on it, and then you've got your click-through rates and things like that as well. So on the negative side, guys, people might think that they're intrusive. Obviously, we see them pop up all the time, and we can get some ad fatigue from that. If you've got any kind of blocker on your device, pop-up blocker, those ads might get blocked so that you might not even see them. If you've got lots of them on your website, guys, and you've probably been to spammy websites before with lots of display ads, they can take up a lot of bandwidth, so your website ends up taking longer to load. So that can be a problem. And then, as we mentioned, guys, advertising fatigue is a big problem. I think we talked about this before, but the average number of ads that one person sees in a day is 1,500 ads. That's across all channels. But, when you're getting 1,500 ads, it becomes easy to ignore a lot of them. And display ads do get ignored quite a lot. Okay, let's have a look at some ad targeting. So, when we're actually creating an ad and we're putting it out to the world, how would we actually target people? Like, based on what type of information or what type of data would we actually target groups of people? So these kind of show us different ways that we can target our display ads. So first one, guys, we already mentioned is by location. We call this geofencing. So that example we saw before where somebody's in a stadium. Let's say you're a restaurant outside of the stadium and you've got display ads popping up. You're bidding for display ad space for people in the stadium. You can maybe put a geofenced area of 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers around the stadium, and anyone who's in that space will get those display ads, right? So you're targeting people based on their location. That can work well in malls. It can work well in like shopping areas where there's lots of people around, and you want them to get them to come into your store. We can target people by whether they're in market or not. So when we say in market, we're looking for people who are actively shopping for something. So if we know that people have already been to websites, maybe they've already put things into a basket, and maybe haven't converted, or if we've seen them searching for different things through Google, we can target them based on that. We know that they're actually in market, they're looking for something to purchase. We can get that information and then we can target them based on that. Retargeting, again, guys, if people have bought products in the past, we can go back and target them again. If we see that they're actually in market again, they've bought something and then they're looking again, that would be a good way to target. And retargeting has a really high conversion rate, so that's always a good one to use. Coordinated targeting here, guys, is when we're using multiple different channels together, search ads and display ads together. We can see there's a 59% increase in conversion. So if we've got our search ads running where we're getting our companies to rank highly on search pages like Google, that works well. That'll get people looking at that information and then maybe looking through your website. And then you hit them again with a display ad on another website, for example. So think about how it might work, guys. People might, let's say, go back to my classic example of a winter jacket. If someone's looking to purchase a winter jacket, they go onto Google and they search warm winter jacket. They'll get a bunch of search results. If you as a company have already put a search ad on Google, you're doing it well, your ad's going to come up maybe number one on the search results there. So now people will be like, oh, that's interesting. Click on the ad and go to your website, and they look around. They see lots of different jackets, and they're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to. I'm not sure if I like this one or this one or this one. I'm not quite sure exactly what I'm going to purchase. So they leave the website, and maybe there's a couple of products that they're like, oh, I like that one or I like that one, but I'm not quite sure what I want to buy. The next day, if they're on a different website, let's say they're on social media, for example, and they see a display ad that shows them winter jackets from the website that they were looking around the previous day, 59% more likely to convert. So, guys, it's basically just putting it back into their memory. We talk about the rule of 7, being able to put your brand in front of people 7 times before they actually purchase. This is coordinated targeting is a great way to get your message out on multiple fronts so people are actually reminded and they'll go back and make that purchase. Frequency capping, guys, is a way to actually kind of stop ad fatigue. So you don't want, if an ad's popping up to a person 100 times, each time it pops up, they're less likely to pay attention. So we can stop how many times it's actually shown. So we can reduce the frequency of that. Sequential messaging is it's a newer idea, but it's an interesting one where you'll show somebody one type of ad, and then in the next time they go to the website, a different type of ad. But what you're doing over time in sequence is telling a story. So the first one will have some connection to the next one, and then the next one will have some connection, even though they're different ads. So people are looking at them, they're not going, oh, I've seen this ad already, I won't even look at it. It's a different ad, but it's part of a larger story. So we're using a sequence of ads that will build up to a purchase eventually. Contextual, obviously, guys, this is a basic one where we're actually putting a display ad on a website that is connected to that product. So if we're thinking about winter jackets, we might put it on a website like Sport Check or something like that. It's contextual to what people are actually looking at. And then lastly, guys, a life event. If somebody goes to Google and types in wedding, for example, we now have data that tells us that they're probably planning a wedding. So we could target them based on, you get a bunch of wedding companies like people who sell cakes or dresses or anything like that. They might want to target people who have searched those types of things. So lots of data there, guys. These ad exchanges basically pick up a lot of this data and then they use that to target. Okay, just a couple of steps here, guys, looking at setting up our display ads. Firstly, we want to determine our goals. So what's our objective for the ad? What are we actually what's our conversion goal? Are we trying to get them to purchase? Do we want to get an email? Are we trying to get them to engage in something? Do we want them to play a game? What are we actually trying to get them to do here? So what are our goals for this? Second one is our KPIs, our key performance indicators. So how do we measure the success of the ad? If we're trying to get people to purchase a product, then obviously the KPI is sales for that product, right? But if we just want to get our brand exposed to people, is a view going to be a good KPI? An impression? And remember, guys, a difference between view and impressions, because you can go to a page once and see it as a view, but an impression is how many times you actually go past that ad. Is there engagement? Is there somebody clicking through? Does it actually convert? So how will we measure? Third one here, guys, is our target audience. We've already set this up. We've already talked about user profiles. If we're working for a company as a digital marketer, that's probably one of the first things that we're going to do is figure out who we're targeting, what products we're trying to sell, and how we're actually going to reach those people. Is it by location? Is it by preference? Is it by device? Time? All of these different things play into that. So the next thing is we're trying to figure out where we actually want to put our information, our ad. So what's our ad host going to be? There's lots of different advertising exchanges that we could use. We talked about Google ADX. But where is your target audience? Is it on social media? Is it on websites? Is it on an app, for example? So we need to figure out where the best place to put those are. The next one is a budget, because obviously, guys, this is a paid approach. We're paying to get our ads up there. So how much are we going to spend? Is it per click? CPC, cost per click. Is it cost per acquisition? So are we getting new leads from it? Or is it cost per mille? So do we want 1,000 impressions? Or cost per lead? So we've got to think about all of these different costs here, and how that actually is tied back to our goal. What are our objectives here? Okay, we're moving on, guys. We want to create our ads. We'll be looking at a couple of good ways to create ads in a second here, but we want to follow the ACE model, which is A for attract attention. So it's got to be catchy. We've got to convey a message with our imagery and our text. And then we've got to entice action. So get a call to action in there, usually with a button. Alongside this, guys, not just the ad, because we can't just create an ad. We have to create a landing page that matches our ad. So if you have an ad that's for let's go back to our Lexus option where they're talking about a certain type of Lexus, and then you click on the ad and it links to just the home page for Lexus in general, basically people will close the page immediately. They clicked on the ad for a reason because they saw something in the ad that they liked. They've clicked on it. Now, when they get linked to something, they're expecting to go to a page that is connected to the ad. If your page is not connected correctly, or it doesn't match the feel and the design of the ad, then people are going to shut down. It's got to be congruent. We talk about congruent design. That means everything is synced up. Number 8, guys, here is to run our ads. We've got a few different platforms here that we can use: Google Ads, social media, Outbrain, Taboola. There's a lot of them out there, guys. So those are a couple of recommendations. And obviously, last here, guys, is tracking and analyzing and then optimizing. So we want to see what ads are doing well, what are good about them. We can use A/B testing here to see which ones work better than other ones. And then in the future, we want to optimize those, use the best of the batch. Okay, so let's have a look. This display ad here, what's effective about it? Just think about that for a second. And you can pause it while I avoid any spoilers here. But let's jump into the spoilers here, guys. What is effective about this ad? Number 1, we've got these really strong contrasting colors. We've got red in the background, which captures the eye. And we've got these black visuals at the front here, which has got really good contrast to it. And then the text in white that has a really good contrast. We've used some drop shadow here to make the text stick out more on the ad. We don't have a lot of text here, guys. We've just got play together, anytime, anywhere. So it's a really concise message, and it's a really strong message. It's just telling you that if you want to play on the go, if you want to use your tablet, if you want to use your computer, you can do that on all of these, and you can do it mobile as well, or portably, which is pretty handy. We've got our branding here. Always include your branding so people know what it is. And we've got a very clear button here, which tells people what to do next. If you click on this, you're going to get an offer for the Nintendo Switch. So branding, we've got bold colors and striking visuals. We've got minimal, simple messaging. And we've got our clear button here as well, guys. So those are basically the 4 components of a display ad that we need to have. Call to action on our button as well. So when we think about here, guys, these buttons, there's some of these that are just not very good. If we look at things like just click, that doesn't actually tell us anything. We're trying to get a call to action that actually entices people. So things like subscribe or find out or get it, for example, or submit. Those have got more clear actions to them. Go on, things like go on, do it, just click. Like that doesn't really mean anything. And guys, some of these are going to work better depending on what we want to do. What's our objective? Are we trying to inform people? Are we trying to educate them? Are we trying to persuade them or inspire them? So think about those different objectives when we are looking for our calls to action. Okay, guys, we've seen this before. We saw it with search ads, but it works exactly the same for display ads. We've got all of these different payment models that we can get, cost per click or pay per click, cost per action. This could also be called cost per acquisition, which is getting a new lead essentially. But we've got all of these different models here, what they're good for. But basically, guys, display ads work very similarly to search ads in the way that we pay for them and have models like this. Okay, let's finish this off with a couple of tests here. These are some A/B tests. Which ones do we think will have higher conversion? Or essentially, which ones are going to be more interesting for people? So we've got the A and the B here, long handle digging shovel. One of these we can see, guys, has got different context here, a length and a lifetime warranty. Our second one here, guys, is the winner. Probably because it's got a bit more of value here in terms of the lifetime warranty. Um, these things, guys, these might be things that people want to see in store, actually trying it out. But when we're talking about information about getting something online, basic information like the length and some of the main value is going to be better. These things are more sort of touch and feel descriptions. Yeah, more concise info. Okay, what do we think here? A or B? We've got an image obviously here versus our shovels. Everything else is the same. And in this situation, guys, we've got A working better, basically because it's got a more dynamic visual in it. Okay, here we go. A versus B. We've got a couple of differences here. Obviously, a longer heading here. This one's got a secondary heading and a button. I think, guys, most people would have got that. The clear button here, we've got some concise information, and we've got a solution. Are you ready for autumn? If you are ready, then hey, here's some free gardening advice. Contact us. This one doesn't actually give us any action to take. Okay, so there's no call to action there. Okay, this one's tricky because it's basically just based on the font. Sorry, not the font, the copy that's in the ad. The font is the same. So we're going with number one here, guys. It's just less clunky. This second one's got two parts to it. The easy way to get photo assets that everyone's talking about. This one, the virtual photo shoot company, everyone's talking about. This one rolls off the tongue a bit quicker. It doesn't have two suppositions in it like this one does. So less clunky, this one here. Try and keep your copy concise. Okay, here's another one here, guys. These are exactly the same apart from the color. Now, this one's a bit of a trick one, guys, because it's got nothing to do with the actual display ad itself. The colors don't make much of a difference. It's the landing page that we want to question here. So which one of these landing pages do we think is going to be more effective? This one here, because it's got, remember, guys, when we get to the website, we want to answer those three questions, and one of them is, what do we want to do? What are we doing next? This one's got really clear and concise information on what you're going to do next. We can start a quote here. It's got the steps, and it's got lots of information for us there, lots of context. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to jump into our activity for the week. I'll put that up on Moodle, guys, and look out for the simulation information coming shortly. Okay, thanks, guys.